so happy that you can join us. And this is our third recruitment webinar, and we hope that what we share tonight will help you with your recruiting efforts in your districts and units. So with the start of 2021, we do have a council membership plan in place, and we've decided on the topics for this webinar to help us achieve some of our goals for the council, as well as help you within your districts and your units. And we'd like to start off by having one of the council's field directors and an advisor to the membership committee, John Mills, instruct us on Be a Scout PIN. He did a walkthrough at our first webinar in July of last year, but it's always good to be reminded how this Be a Scout PIN works. So we'll turn the time over to John.
Thank you, Paula. I am going to share my screen. So welcome everyone to our beginning of the year webinar for membership recruitment and everything membership. Hopefully you'll be able to learn a bit tonight to assist you in your units. That's the purpose of this, and we are all here to serve as resources for you. If you have needs in your unit, please reach out to your district leadership, including your district committee, as well as your professional scout, your district executive, for assistance. Briefly, we're going to cover the Be a Scout options that are available for your unit. The Be a Scout PIN, the Be a Scout options that are online are a very important recruiting tool. We currently have weekly individuals within the council who are seeking units, and as they Google how to join scouting, one of the very first links will be beascout.org. Beascout.org is the national organization's website that helps you find a scouting unit near you. And when you log on to beascout.org, this is the page that comes up. So it's got an option for you to put in your zip code, and then right below your zip code, select the type of unit you're looking for, and then click that red button to find and apply. When you do that, after I've put in Spanish Forks zip code here, 84660, and clicking that find and apply, this is the page that comes up. It's got a lot of information here for you. The up here in this circle will show you what zip code you're using, and right next to that is an edit button to change that zip code if you'd like. You can filter the results along the left side of the screen. In this particular case, I have selected Cub Scouts and every unit within that zip code. And then you can also determine the distance. How close do you want to be to that zip code? With Jed Anderson's permission from before, we have used PAC 72 as an example from the American Leadership Academy of how your PIN will look when you have it registered online and someone visits beascout.org. It'll give you information for who you are, how to contact you, what kinds of youth you serve, and then whether or not you have an online registration option available for people that join or want to join. The pack down below, we've clouded out the name for their protection, for their privacy, but that pack is one that did not have their Be a Scout PIN set up. It does identify the pack, but it has no information available on how to join them. Now let's talk really quickly about that word PIN. If you scroll down this page, there will be a map, and the up here on the upper left, you see the list view or map view. This is the map. So not scroll down, but click the map view, and this is what comes up. Here is that same pack, PAC 72. And think of that PIN not as a personal identification number that is available through, that you use with your bank or what, but instead think of a pin on a map. So you've got a large map on the wall, kind of old school style. You want to identify certain things throughout that geographic area, and you put a pin on the map. That's what that pin means. That's what it stands for. So once again, this is the same information that was shared on the list view, but now it's shared showing where roughly, if they have that information logged or recorded online, where that pack or unit meets. So that's kind of the cool thing about beascout.org. It is out there. We encourage you to use it, but how do you get online? That's what we're going to show you next. There is a way to activate your Be a Scout pin. These 7 steps I will go through very quickly so that you can see yourself how to do this. That way you don't have to write these down. We'll show you how to do it. So this is all done through my.scouting.org. When you log on to my.scouting.org, this page comes up and you have the ability to put in your username and is automatically connected. And by the nature of your position, you will have certain rights. You'll have the ability to do advancements if you're the advancement person for the unit, approve leaders if you're the chartered organization representative. So my.scouting.org is very important. It is also the place we do training, and you probably have used it for your youth protection. And here along the right side of the screen, these 2 circles are our youth protection training options that are available on my.scouting. We're not going to go over that. We're going to go over how to set up your unit pin. If you click right here at the very top left of the screen, a drop-down menu will show up and it'll look like this. You'll have a number of things that are listed along the left side for you personally. We're going to draw your attention to the one down here where you have your troop listed. It'll say troop 123, or in the case of troop 72 or pack 72, it'll say that, and your district's name and number. Clicking on this greater than sign that is next to the troop, or just click on the name, that will populate down, and the menu will expand to show you the options that are available underneath your unit's account. And this here at the top will show you right underneath the menu, it'll show you the name of your unit, and then you've got a lot of different options here. We're going to draw your attention to Organization Manager. That is the one that you will set up your Be a Scout pin. In fact, if you click on that, you'll see this here come up, and the second option on the left will say Unit Pin. Clicking on that, this comes up. This is how you set up that pin, and the information that you put in here is what shows on the Be a Scout website. So very important at the very top, yours should say allow units to update pin information. If it does not say that, contact your district executive. Only he will be able to change that, or she will be able to change that for you. If it says allow the council to update pin information, that is not what you want. So once it is clicked here, this radio button, you'll have the option of appear on Be a Scout, allow people to apply online. That's very important. That is that option that appears that I showed you before that said apply now. If you look to the right of the screen, this is the preview of what you will see, this upper right. And you see the Apply Now button. This is exactly how it will look if you've got these options clicked or selected. Contact information, you can edit that. Right below the contact information, there's the Edit button. And edit and whomever you want. And you can even decide whether or not you want a phone number. In fact, look to the right. Fields to display on unit pin. These are where you select what information you want on your Be a Scout pin. So very important that you set this up right. Now, in this case, you do scroll down and you'll see the map information. If you'd like to input where your unit meets, you have the option to input addresses, the address of the actual location they meet. And then when you click this locate button, it'll take the pin on the map exactly to that location, and be sure to hit save. Very important, hit save. And once you've done all that, you will be set up on your Be a Scout pin. Okay, if you have any questions on anything that I've covered, do it, put them in the question and answer box. We will be answering those questions throughout the night. We may answer them. If it's one that is important enough for everyone to hear the answer, we will answer it online. If it is something that just applies just to you, we'll text you back the answer.
So
Thank
John,
you so much.
There is one question, John, if you want to stay on. Somebody's
Sure.
asking, is it only Key 3 who can set up or update the pin?
That is a very good question. And yes, we did not cover how to set up your Key 3, but if you've got just a minute, I can show that really fast. Okay, so let me do that. Let me go back to sharing my screen again. Okay, and we are going to, let's see, fast forward to where that shows the Key 3 information. Okay, can everyone see that? Is it showing the activate your Be a Scout pin at the top of the screen?
Not yet. Oh, it says activate your Be a Scout pin. Yes, we've seen that menu. Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, that.
There we go.
Okay, so this is what we are looking for. We're going to need to, right here, we'll talk about how to get your Key 3 designated so that they will be the ones to, they're the ones that set up your Be a Scout pin. Once again, going back to that menu, the drop-down menu, in this particular case, we are going to the organization security manager as opposed to the organization manager. The organization security manager shows you who your Key 3 is. And in this case, you've got Key 3 members listed here on the left side of the screen, and then you have functional positions that are listed on the right side. At the top, there's a fourth individual you can designate to be the one who functions on behalf of the Key 3, and that person would be called a Key 3 delegate. This would be someone outside of your chartered organization representative, your committee chair, or your scoutmaster or cubmaster. It could be your advancement chair, it could be your secretary for the parents committee, whomever you wish to set that up. By clicking on that name, Key 3 delegate, this comes up. And currently for this unit, no person is in the position of the Key 3 delegate. By clicking on the green plus sign where the red arrow is pointing, you can add an individual to that. Once you've added someone, to get back to your previous page, click the back button. So it's very important that you do know how to use My.Scouting. There are a lot of things available in My.Scouting for you. I would encourage you to play around with it. You can't break it. And don't quote me if you do. So just play around, see what's inside there. There's a lot of really cool things, but that is how you set up your Key 3 delegate to set up your Be a Scout pin.
Thanks, John. You know, I'm so blown away every time I see this, just because of this great resource. And I believe this is like fabulous for these scouts and families that really want to join, that are interested, to come find us. So this is perfect. I love it. Thank you so much for doing that walkthrough. I'm always learning something new every time I see it. So thanks. There was something that was just updated from National and posted as a great online resource guide, and that's the unit roadmap. We've anticipated this update, and we have Linda Vaughn that's going to share some of this good information. She's very involved with scouting in all levels, and she is over marketing on the membership committee. So we're going to turn the time over for Linda to walk us through the unit roadmap.
Thank you, Paula. I wanted to start by finding out where in the world can we find this unit roadmap. There are two different ways that we can approach our websites. The first one would be to go to scoutingwire.org. When you go there, you need to click on the marketing and membership. When you click on that link, it will take you to this page where there's a red Explore Now button. When you click on that button, it'll show this marketing and membership hub. Under new unit development there on the left, you're going to find unit performance. When you click on that, you're going to come to the unit roadmap, and there's an opportunity right there for you to download the document. You can print it out and you can actually scroll through it. So that's in your scoutingwire.org. If you go to scouting.org, here's the main page. What you do is click on menu. It'll show you this page, and if you'll look under Scouting Resources, look under Commissioners. When you click on that page, what you need to do is scroll down on the left-hand side until you see Starting, Sustaining, and Growing Units. Click on that link on the left-hand side of the page, and this is a long one. Then you click on Start a New Unit. When you do that, it gives you some plans for starting a new unit, and there is methods outlined in the unit roadmap. So those are two great ways to try and find that document right here. And after this webinar, we're inviting our scouting professionals to find a place on utahscouts.org where we can go just click on the link and use this as a document. So the question I have is, so why do I even want to find this document and use it? It is a fabulous guide for starting and sustaining and growing units. One of the questions I've always said is, well, how do I start one? I don't have a barn in my backyard. I don't have access to I don't know how to do it. And so this is a great way to get started. We took a document that was almost 200 pages, probably seldom used, and pared it down to about 15 pages. It simplifies the task. If you're very familiar with scouting, you probably know a lot of different things that need to happen. And so you can be overwhelmed and overwhelm people with that. If you are an individual that doesn't know a lot about the scouting program, you need a step-by-step guide to do that. It is intended to be an online resource because there are links throughout that will take you to scouting.org. It will take you to training sites. It will take you to forms and outlines that need to be used. It's a quick reference that BSA professionals can use as well as volunteers. And there's some really good best practices shown here. I wanted you to note that throughout the guide, you will see 3 stages, the assess stage, the plan, and then the act, so that it gives you an idea that first you need to sit down and decide, what do you know? What information do you want to find out? You set up a plan, and then you go and act. You do something with that plan. All right, so that's the PowerPoint. I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to go back now to the actual guide. I'd like us to actually go through some of the highlights here that I have outlined in the guide. So I'm going to, all right, I'm going to I'm going to move you guys. All right. So I've actually just gone through this and highlighted some things that I thought were interesting in growing and sustaining units. So here it starts here and says that some of the first four, if you're going to start a unit, there's 4 areas that you need to be able to look at. You need to look at the chartered organization, you need unit leadership, you need to plan the program, and you need some youth. I think for me, the most daunting task would be to get that chartered organization. It says recruit a sales team. Don't go in alone. It gives an idea of who could be on that team to help find things out. You don't just call the organization up. First off, you need to find out some information before you go in. Has a list of questions. I love the one that says, how does this organization currently serve their youth? And what are their missions and visions? And do those actually line up with what BSA wants you to do? As you go on to the next page, it says, as you approach them, you don't approach them and then ask, hey, will you be our charter organization rep? You set up and you take some time to develop personal rapport and learn about the organization's goals. So this is something that takes some time, it takes some planning, and you sit down and you visit with them. It gives you some great ideas to talk to them about. I love this link that it has. It's a resource to identifying and articulating the elements of scouting that might appeal most to a prospective chartered organization. So you might say, well, I love the scouting program, but I'm not sure how to say that to somebody else. And so there's some information online that would be very useful for you. As you scroll through here, when you can answer some of these questions that they've got listed here, you're ready to start, you're ready to ask them to be part of the program. And then what's next? Well, there's a form that they can fill out. So there's an application link to it that would help that sales team to finalize the deal. So there's a great outline there just for recruiting the chartered organization. Next, we've got to have unit leadership. And the statement that just stood out to me was assign a new unit commissioner to the potential new unit. We're fortunate to have Annalise here, and in a few minutes, she's going to be talking about all the wonderful training that can take place to get our unit commissioners in place to help these new units. A whole list of what their jobs are, what we expect this new unit commissioner to do, from encouraging some training to familiarizing them with district and council events and encouraging the attendance of roundtable. All right, next we got to get some leadership involved. You set up a team. What was impressive to me about this page is that you don't just go ask anybody that's out there. We need people that can relate to youth and have the ability to remain calm under pressure, that give great attention to detail. So once you've got some people in place, of course, we've got to get them trained. We don't have to send them to every training, but just some mandatory youth protection training and some of those specific position-specific training. All right, next as we go there, to me, this is the most critical part of any type of the training of the program is the program, planning the program. And it encourages you to use Journey to Excellence to help set up the program and to begin with just a 3 to 4 month calendar, which includes some recruitment activities. I love that they say, get those leader handbooks into their hands. They are not alone, and there's some great resources. Start with the basics, get that leader handbook in their hands. Of course, you can't run a program if you don't know some budgeting tips and skills. So here's some links to setting up an annual budget. Moving on, we get into our recruiting the youth. And right there, drop a Be a Scout pin. So there you go. Let them know where you're at. And then it says identify some potential recruitment events. And I think we're looking at some yard signs for the council. And so we're going to be setting some up. We hope that our districts are setting up some recruitment events. This year presents some great challenges, and we'll talk about that in just a few minutes. What I love next is it goes through some different possibilities and ideas, some best practices. It comes up with this new member coordinator. And we have here Maddie, who is our expert and has provided some great resources for how we can get new member coordinators involved with our units to help with some of that paperwork. All right, so these cover briefly the 4 areas of starting a unit. Then we've got some information about sustaining the unit. They've got highlights with, first, you've got to have meeting success. And it introduces the idea that you've got to have meetings that are productive and engaging. How do you know that's really happening? It says we get feedback. We assess what we're doing. We get feedback. This is where our unit commissioner can help us so that we can improve the meetings and improve the plans. And there's some unit assessment forms that can be used to help us make sure that what we're providing our youth wants them to keep coming back. There's leader training. And again, it highlights that the new member coordinator can guide all of the new leaders into getting that training so that they don't feel overwhelmed or don't know where to go. So again, links to where they can get this training taken care of. This is, to me, speaks volumes. A units program requires planning, family and youth buy-in and support, and proper budgeting. If we've got a great program, then the parents want to be involved in it and the youth want to come out to it. It references again throughout this document the journey to excellence as a great place to use and reference where you're at and what you need to do. There's some information about charter renewal, making sure that that is, and who's online to do that, your unit commissioner and your key 3, so that we don't lose them in the way. They've got to be rechartered each year. And again, some links to help with that. As you scroll down onto page 12, recognition here, recognition and advancement are critical, and give some ideas about what you can do to make sure that those leaders and the youth are feeling success. There's links to what can be happening right now during this COVID, and some resources that people can reference. Moving on to the next page, you'll notice that there's not a whole lot there. There's only a couple of pages for sustaining the unit, because if you've done your work in setting up the unit and starting one, then the rest of this falls nicely into place. Then we have growing the unit. We don't want it to be stagnant. We want it to grow. It gives some ideas for what the BSA professional should be doing, your commissioner team, using Journey to Excellence to move it forward, using that new member coordinator to make sure that things are happening with those new people that are coming in. I love here, you've got to recruit. You got to keep recruiting. And to me, if you are recruiting, you've got to be recruiting them to a dynamic program. I love it. Build a competitive program. That doesn't mean that you're competing against somebody else. It means that, well, we're competing against all those other activities that might draw kids away from them. We want to be doing things that they say, this is where I want to be. Conduct the unit program and seek feedback on an ongoing basis. Make sure that you find out whether what you're doing is what is needed and what is valuable. Because if it is, then you're going to get people that want to come back and they want to bring their friends to come back and participate with them. Let me read this last one. Incorporate activities into the unit program that support areas of growth in its culture and encourage a welcoming environment for families and youth. The last page then gives you bunches of links that you can go to and help do that. This is a fabulous resource, and I would encourage you to have a link to go back and forth to it. It simplifies the process. It gives you encouragement. To me, it says, hey, you're not alone doing this. You've got the resources and people that you can do, and it provides a great roadmap for some success. So make sure you can find that and use it. Thank you, Paula.
Hey, thanks, Linda. So I call it the one-stop shop. I think it's got loads of great information, great resources, how to sustain and grow your units and starting your units. So thank you for sharing that and giving us that overview. So everything that's shared tonight is going to be up on our website, up on the council's webpage. And those are going to be all the PowerPoints and the links. And it usually, and this is actually taped, so we're recorded. So in about a week after it gets edited and stuff, we'll get it up on the council's webpage. And so you can have access to all the instructions at any time. And I do know that the Be a Scout pin is already up there, so you can do that anytime. So one of our membership chairs, Charlie Twist, he serves in the Spanish Trails District, and he's one of the greatest friends of the Scouting program I've ever met, one of them. And he has volunteered for 47 years. He has served as a district trainer, district commissioner, district chair, and assistant council commissioner. He currently is serving as a COR for a pack and a troop. And Charlie is going to present how important the Webelos to Scout transition is. We'll turn the time over to Charlie.
Thank you, Paula. Once we have Cub Scouts in place, and they're having a great time, hopefully, then we want to be able to move them from Cub Scouts when they are ready, 10 and a half, 11 years old, finish the 5th grade. Then we want to sign them up. Now, Paula, can you switch me over to, and you're on mute now, Paula.
Yes, Jake is going to have you share your information. If you can switch over to the share.
Okay, we refer to this as a transition period when the boy is graduating, or girl, graduating from Cub Scouts, Webelos, and moving on into Scouts or Scouts BSA. Some of us are having a hard time adjusting. We know that there are girls in the program, but we don't have any in our own. And so sometimes I get a little careless with that. But we want to welcome both boys and girls into Scouts BSA. The program in the Cubs should finalize for that individual who is getting ready to make that transition into Boy Scouts, Scouts BSA. I'm still having trouble with that. And this becomes a very special ceremony for not only the youth, but also their family. To begin with, we need to have a plan to work out. In the past, it was just automatic that Webelos would cross over into Boy Scouts. But in today's world, that's not necessarily the case. And so we have to be creative to reach out to from the Scout level to the Cub level with the leaders as well as the Scouts, as well as their parents. The percentage of Webelos that move from Cubs into Scouts has been dropping for several years now. There are key factors for that. And for us to be able to make a difference there and change that trend, we have to understand some of the issues that we are dealing with. For instance, there are many more options out there for youth than there was when we were growing up. There are clubs of every sort. Our particular pack and troop meets at the Community Rec Center, and there are groups in there, the daytime, the evening time, offering all kinds of activities, not only for adults, but also for youth. There's dancing, there's tumbling, there's karate, there's dance, there's choral groups, everything imaginable for that. And so those kind of things are a draw for the kids. Some of them are sports, some of them are music lessons. Sometimes a parent thinks they need to fill the child's day up after school. And so they may have something going on every day in the afternoon. We need to be able to offer a good enough program where we are considered competitive by those parents for their and their child's attention. Another issue we need to deal with is the advent of video entertainment, whether it be a phone, a tablet, or a computer. There are lots of things out there that keep the kids interested, and they may not have even become aware that we have a cubbing or a scouting program out. And then we also have to deal with the dangers to children in today's society. We read about things like that from time to time, and we almost always grimace at what has gone on. And those dangers to our children are very real. We offer a solid alternative to get the kids into Cub Scouts or into Scouting USA. Well, what is it we need to do? A program that meets the needs of and interests of both the youth and the parents. For a long time, I have used the philosophy that if we are offering a good program, then those who are coming are comfortable inviting their friends, their neighbors. And that's something we'd like to be able to offer on a continual basis. One of the things that I do when a scout or a cub brings a friend to that meeting, we offer them an oversized candy bar. There's nothing quite like a little chocolate to sweeten an adult or a youth's tooth. And when we get that individual signed up, we give them another one. So that's always a very popular item. We need to be able to educate our youth who are in Cubs and their parents about the Older Scout program. It is different from the Cub Scouts, and we need to do a great sales job there to let them know some of these fun things that we have going. For instance, on Saturday this week, our troop is having an outing, and we have invited the Webelos, there are 5 of them in our pack, to come join us mid-morning. Our emphasis is going to be on engineering. We will be building several different things that are all geared for younger people and entertaining for the older ones. So we'll do some catapults. We'll do a wind-up rubber band car that they'll build from scratch. We'll have a rubber band or a marshmallow shooter. We've just got half a dozen different activities lined up. And I would be very surprised if everyone in attendance doesn't go home raving about what we offered that day. So we want to give the youth and the parents the opportunity to become familiar and comfortable with the troop that we hope that the Cub Scout will move into. And we need to be visible in the community on a regular basis. For instance, in parades, 4th of July, 24th of July, anything that has an event in the community, we need to have our presence out there to let the community know we are available and have a program of substance for their child. Now, who gets involved in this transition process? Well, the den leaders for the Webelos, the pack leaders, the troop leaders. This is a team effort. Commissioners, district membership team, and of course, the Webelos and their parents. This is a combined effort to keep them in the program and sell them on the idea of the next level. Now, our district membership team. Ideally, this committee has someone that coordinates the Webelos to Scout transition process, and they would share that plan with the pack and troop leaders. The pack and troop leaders do not necessarily have to start from scratch when that district membership team is in functioning and shares with them some of the great ideas that they have gathered up from multiple packs and troops previously. They also work with the district executive to gather, share, and track data. We can identify trends from that, what works, and emphasize that. Then we need to have that team inform commissioners how they can help in the process. And we have youth that are not committed necessarily. By the time they're ready to leave Cubs, we need to make sure that somebody is contacting every youth that hasn't joined a troop by the end of the school year. Now, what is the role of the commissioners? Unit commissioners, those special people who work directly with the unit leaders, they can help in this process too, assisting with charter renewal at the end of the year, helping identify Webelos who are eligible to join a troop. So we catch them in the November, December timeframe, and again in the springtime. Those commissioners can help promote communication among the unit leaders. In the multiple dens in a pack, there may not be an awareness of what happens when a cub is ready to leave, age out in the cubbing program, or perhaps in the scout program, what could be done to reach out into the pack or multiple packs in a community. The commissioners can help educate the Webelos themselves and their parents about the great features of the older scout program. Now, the troop leaders, what do they need to do? It will take a team effort for troops to attract youth leaders. Troops that do the following things are going to be most successful. Establish connections with packs in your area. Get to know who the Webelos leader is in each of them, and the Cub Master and their committee. If you are putting your best foot forward, getting acquainted with them, wearing a smile on your face, and have a great program to offer, you are in great shape. Then we need to have den chiefs. These would be boys out of the troop who are able to work with the pack and function as den leaders. And then invite the Webelos to a troop activity and a camp out. Let them have some of the experiences, the exciting events that go on with a troop. And then work hand in hand with the Cub Master so that the crossover ceremony has representatives from the pack as well as from the troop. The pack is saying goodbye to that Webelo, and then the scoutmaster and the senior patrol leader from the troop are on the other side of that bridge to welcome them. And of course, a high quality program from those troop leaders. Now, here's a Cub Scout graduating from his pack. He has received the Arrow of Light. We provide this really nice plaque for him to put on the wall in his bedroom with his name and when that happened. Dad's got the certificate, graduation, and the Arrow of Light. And you can see by the look on their faces, these are happy campers, dad and son. Leaders, what do? Every pack should have as many youth as possible continuing in the scouting program. That should be the bottom line goal for every leader in that pack. Den leaders, assistant, cub master, assistant, all the committee people. We have a great program and we want to sell as many people in the community as we can to come join us. So when we're ready to move up in that transition, we need to establish connections with troops in the area, get to know the scoutmaster and the committee. If there are multiple troops in the area, check around, see which ones you like, which ones you want to be selling to your boys, your cubs, and their parents. That pack leadership should help educate the Webelos and their parents about the older program and encourage the leaders to participate in troop activities and campouts. Again, a high quality program. If there are issues with dens that are losing members, the pack leaders can work on that and do some one-on-one with Webelos and the parents, figure out why they're not hanging around and continuing on. If we do not have a quality program in place, those cubs will vote with their feet and will not come back for the pack meetings or moving on into the troop. Webelos leaders, often where the Webelos leader goes, the youth will follow. The Pied Piper effect here. But they should encourage all youth to join a troop, even if it's not the one that the Webelos leader is recommending. We want to keep them in the program. The Webelos leaders need to run a great program. Here's a program that our pack did a couple of years ago. We had a formal retiring ceremony of flags that had been worn out and needed to be replaced. So here's a father and his son getting ready to place that particular flag into the fire. A memorable event. After they dropped that in, then they both backed up, saluted that flag, and made room for the next pair to come forward. The Webelos leaders need to talk with parents about the older program and the role of the parents when they move into it. They need to take the den on visits. Here are some boys. We take these Webelos to an event like this, water, out in the wild. Notice the log across there. Boys love to try and get across there and see who can make it to the other side without falling. Webelos themselves, when can a youth join a troop? Well, National says 3 different criteria. They must be 11 years of age or have completed the 5th grade or have earned the Arrow of Light in Cub Scouts and are at least 10 years of age. So one of those 3 criteria, if that Webelo fits there, it's time to move along. Now, when Webelos visit a troop, imagine you are a parent of a Webelos and you expect to visit a troop activity or camp out. What would you expect to see? This evening, we had 5 Webelos visit our troop, and we had parents there. Those boys joined in with our new scout patrol, and they had compass and maps and learned how to use that in getting that all lined up and identifying 5 different symbols off the map. These boys loved what they did. Unfortunately, we didn't have any girls there. So if a parent or a Webelo visited a troop and saw bad behavior from the scouts, not a good thing. We want to give them a pep talk before these visitors come in and help them feel welcome. What would you do if you saw a lack of adult leadership in the troop? These are all thumbs down types of things. The Webelos and the parents will join a troop they feel comfortable with. Periodically, troops can have open houses. Here are some do's. Make sure you personally invite the Webelos and parents to attend. Have the scouts invite their friends too. And make everyone feel welcome, youth and adults. Have hands-on activities for the youth and parents to do. Teach a skill such as starting a fire with flint and steel. This evening, we had some of our older scouts make up a cherry salad dessert. And nobody turned that down. Show a video from summer camp, or better yet, have the youth and parents make something on a campfire. Snacks and drinks. If you feed them, they will come. And then always follow up after the open house. Things to avoid. Being disorganized. Yuck. Let your parents, your scouts, hang out with their friends by themselves, not going and merging with those visitors. The same thing with the leaders. Get out of your comfort zone, go say hi, put a smile on your face, make them feel welcome. And don't just talk about your troop, show them things that they have done. Other ideas, every group can come up with new ideas. Now, something completely different. What if you got to know a den leader really well, and he or she convinced the Webelos to join your troop when the youth were old enough, and offered them space for them to have their den meetings in the same location and time as your troop meeting, kind of like having another patrol, or considered a family gathering that night? What would happen under those kind of circumstances? This is one of those questions where you get 3 guesses, but the first 2 don't count. If you have questions about this, here's my number. I will take phone calls, text, anytime, any questions. That is the end of my presentation, Paula.
Thanks, Charlie. So this is such an important aspect in our retention and keeping our troops alive. So thank you so much. Great personal touch on that too. One of our goals we want to focus on this year is recruiting more girls into units. And one of our great volunteers, who is the membership chair for Girls Troop 712G in the Timpanogos District, and who serves on the membership committee over the new member coordinator position and youth with disabilities, is going to tell us how we can recruit girls more effectively. And this is Maddie Mayfield, and she has presented on our webinars already in the past, and we're fortunate to have her find the time to be with us tonight. So we'll turn the time over to Maddie Mayfield.
All right, thank you so much, Paula. I'm gonna share my screen. Oh, okay. Perfect. All right, so tonight I want to talk about welcoming girls into troops and packs. And I want to start out with a question. So are you gearing up to start a girl troop or to create a linked pack and include girls? And do you need ideas on how to recruit girls to existing packs and troops? So you can use the following ideas to help your troop and pack recruit more girls. So what do you do first? Number one, talk to your chartered partners. Identify which are prepared to welcome youth in either linked packs or troops. Identify potential leaders, engage parents and other key community leaders, and start new troops and packs. So start the process of starting a linked pack or a new troop. Next is to update your Be a Scout pin. And I want to thank John for all the information on how to update our pins. Prospects need to be able to find you, so make sure that your information is updated. This includes coming soon pins for all kinds of troops and packs and units. Make sure to add contact information to your pin. This makes it much easier for prospective families to reach you. So I recommend that you try it. Go to beascout.org and access your pin and try to contact someone in your unit and see how that works. So that's hands-on right there. See how your pin works. Next is Scout Me In recruiting assets. Familiarize with these assets, and they can all be found at scouting.webdamdb.com. And as Linda shared earlier, check out the unit roadmap plan as well on scoutingwire.org to help plan these 5 steps. Next comes recruitment. Use the Scout Me In assets. You can find them all on the BSA Brand Center, and they are fabulous. You can use them in all of your marketing materials. They're a free resource right at your fingertips. Second is to advertise. Advertise your unit to increase membership. And there are really countless ways to do this. For example, it's more than just holding a recruiting event or an information night. You can create personalized flyers for your unit. You can encourage scout families in an existing pack or troop to share scouting photos and events on social media and mention that a girl troop is starting. You can combine recruiting with popcorn sales and tape a recruiting flyer to each bag of popcorn. You can hold a bring a friend event at a den meeting or patrol meeting. You can have your girls wear either their uniforms or activity shirts to school or to their online school classes to recruit their friends. You can create a unit webpage or social media page. You can place personalized flyers in your school's electronic newsletter. And you can stay informed. You can join other social media groups and Facebook groups to help get ideas. Next, you can find a spokesperson and pitch your story to the media. Scouts BSA is a great story that you can share with your community. All right, next, do you have a written recruitment plan? If you don't, it is time to create one, and you can use that unit roadmap to help you. Are you talking to current or potential charter partners about starting female packs or troops that are new or linked? Are you fully utilizing the Scout Me In recruiting material, whether print or digital and video assets? The Scout Me In tools and resources section at scouting.org is your one-stop resource for recruiting ideas to social media best practices, and it provides you with the resources you need to build, activate, and improve your troop and pack marketing and recruiting strategy. And number 4, are we prepared for Webelos to Scouts BSA transition? And Charlie shared a lot of great information about that. And I want to reiterate that the transition from Webelos to Scouts BSA is a very important stage in a Cub Scouts journey. Leaders should do everything they can to make the process as seamless and smooth and inviting as possible for a Webelos and their parents. Prepare a transition strategy for your group. Membership is quantity and experience is quality. We all feel more welcome when someone in the unit cares about you, your family, and your scout. This is true for prospective new scouts as well. Have a welcome team and utilize the new member coordinator position. That will look different in every unit, but they are there to welcome families and recruit new scouts. Have an orientation for new scouts and families with a question and answer session, and this can be in person or online. Recruit adult female leadership to the Packer troop and have current scouts and leaders give testimonials and information about the quality experiences their families have and how much fun their scout will have when they join. Scout leaders also have fun and create friendships. Make sure the new leaders you recruit feel as welcome as your new scouts do. All right. So recruiting girls into packs and troops is an ongoing process. And while there's no doubt that recruiting looks different right now, packs and troops should be planning their joining events and preparing to make them a success. These could be the traditional at-school joining nights, a virtual recruitment event, or even a neighborhood-based small gathering. The trick is to get creative and reach out to new families in any way that you can. Involving girls in the packs and troops means the whole family can scout together. All right. Hey, thank you. Thank you so much. All right, Paula.
Hey, thank you, Maddie. So these are wonderful ideas that we can capture the girls' attention, get their families' attention, and get them interested in joining packs and troops and crews. So thank you for sharing. Anything we do as far as membership is concerned, we always have to think of how we can work together with the commissioners and support them in their efforts as they support us in ours. And so we have Annalise Smith, who is in the Silver Sage District. She actually is currently a unit commissioner to units in both the Timpanogos and Silver Sage districts. She's been involved with Cub Scouting since 2003 and a Cub Master for over 10 years and a Kalis Council since 2008. She's involved with Commissioner Colleges since 2013. And she currently is serving as Assistant Council Commissioner over Commissioner College. So we've got her to be a presenter tonight, and we appreciate her with her busy schedule to find the time to be with us. So we'll turn the time over to Annalise Smith. Annalise, you'll have to unmute yourself. There we go.
There we go. Okay. Okay, thank you, Paula. It's good to be here with everyone tonight. We've learned a little bit about recruiting different people, and of course, part of recruiting, we want to recruit commissioners, and so I'm here to talk about commissioners. There are 3 different basic types of commissioners, and across the top of the screen here, you'll see administrative commissioners. We have our council commissioner, assistant council commissioners, district commissioners, and assistant district commissioners. And each of those people will have different responsibilities over different areas of things that need to be done. Across the bottom, we'll see roundtable commissioners. Each district usually has a Cub Scout roundtable commissioner, a Scouts BSA roundtable commissioner, venturing roundtable commissioner, and they will each have some assistant roundtable commissioners, and how many they have will depend on their specific needs. Hopefully you all know who your district commissioner is. If you don't, I challenge you to find out. And hopefully you all know when and where roundtable is. And again, if you don't know where that is, I challenge you to find out. What you may not know is that each district has been tasked with finding an ADC over Roundtable. And so that person will be in charge of Roundtable. In some districts, we have them identified and some we don't yet. And so if we don't, then the district commissioner is running Roundtable. And we also have a husband and wife team who are serving in the council as assistant council commissioners over Roundtable. And they're there to provide guidance, resources, and training to the districts to help the districts have great roundtables. But the commissioner position that I would like to highlight tonight is the unit commissioner. This is a district position, and the council's goal is for every single unit to have a unit commissioner assigned to them. We need more commissioners. So I'd like to take a quick look at what they do and why your unit should have one and how to become one. First, I'd like to let you know what a commissioner does. A commissioner is there to help your unit succeed. That's their number one goal. They are there to be a friend, a resource, a guide, a mentor, a coach. They're also there to help counsel, advocate, and mediate if needed. They are not there to be a district spy or to find out what you're doing wrong. They're there to help you become the great scouting unit that the youth deserve. The exact duties of a unit commissioner will be different for each unit because each unit has different needs. There are 5 main areas that all commissioners are taught to focus on. The first one is to support unit growth and retention. And much like Linda talked about with that unit roadmap, commissioners are part of that process. Unit commissioners will contact units. They may be a in-person contact at an activity or a meeting. They might call you, email, text. How often and how they make contact, again, will depend upon the unit and the unit commissioner. They're also there to help you link the district resources with the needs that you may have, whether you need training, information, or connected to a specific resource. The unit commissioner is there to help you connect with the right people in the district. And they help support charter renewals. We just completed charter renewals in our council, and I personally wonder how many of the units that dropped might not have dropped if they'd had a unit commissioner to help them through this past year in the rough spots. And the last thing that commissioners do is deliver effective roundtables. While this is mostly the roundtable commissioner's responsibility, unit commissioners can help in a number of ways. They should encourage roundtable attendance, attend themselves, and pass on information to those units who couldn't attend. They can also be a great way for unit commissioners to connect or contact their units. And while these are the main 5 areas of focus, there are many other ways that commissioners can serve your unit. So does your unit have a unit commissioner? If not, why not? Most likely it's because your district does not have enough volunteers to cover all the units yet. They're trying, but you can help. Since this is a webinar about recruiting, that's why we're talking about recruiting commissioners as well. So who can be a unit commissioner? Almost anyone. Ideally, it's someone who loves scouting and wants to serve. It's always great when this volunteer has years of experience and lots of knowledge about scouting, but those can come with training. The love of scouting and willingness to serve are the best qualifications. And ideally, it should be a neutral party, someone without youth in your unit. So maybe you would like to be a unit commissioner, or maybe you know someone else who you think might make a great unit commissioner. Talk to your district commissioner. And once someone decides to become a unit commissioner, or maybe while they're still just thinking about it, how do they find out more information or get trained for that position? On My.Scouting, there are commissioner training, like most of the other scouting positions. The training is broken up into multiple modules that are short and centered on one topic. It's a great way to learn or even review the basics, and you can do it at your own pace. Maybe you still need to complete your own training, or you want to learn more about another position, like unit commissioner. Why not set yourself a goal to watch just a few modules each week? Most modules are less than 10 minutes long. The council also provides additional training through our College of Commissioner Science. It's much like a University of Scouting, but all the different classes offered are based around commissioner topics. This is also a great way to network and meet other commissioners. In 2021, my team and I are planning for 3 different sessions of Commissioner College. Our first session is coming up in just over a week. There's still time to register, and it's free. It's being held Saturday, February 6th from 8:30 a.m. until noon on Zoom. With things the way they are in the world right now, and because our council is as large as it is, geographically speaking, these trainings, like many others, including this one tonight, are all being held online. In the next year or two, we hope to be able to move to a hybrid version that will include both in-person and online attendance options. You've probably heard the saying that every scout deserves a trained leader. Well, we also believe that every unit deserves a trained commissioner. So I challenge each of you to think of just one person who you think might fit well in the position of unit commissioner. Talk to them about it, pass their name and contact information onto your district commissioner, and make sure that all commissioners get trained.
Wonderful, Annalise. Thank you so much for your great information, for the knowledge you share, and also for the time you put into next week's Commissioner College. And remember, it's not too late to sign up. So as always, we allow time at the end for answering questions. We've answered some that have come through. There was one that came through a little bit ago. If we have a boys troop and a pack, can we get a coming soon pin for girls troop? Question mark. Kind of a fun question. So, well, anybody want to answer that?
I can take a stab at that if you'd like, Paula.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the Be a Scout pin is reserved for existing units. We do have the means of spreading the word around. We can help you with recruitment and things like that, but Be a Scout pin is reserved for existing.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe, let me throw one more thought. It just came to me. If you've got an existing troop, you know, boys troop, you'd like to start a girls one, maybe inside the inside the notes, because it does allow you to put a description of your unit on the Be a Scout. If they call up a troop, they're going to see every troop, not just the girls troop or the boys troop. And so maybe you can put a little description there that we are also starting a troop for girls. That might be one way to deal with that.
Great, thank you. Yeah, so we hope that that coming soon girls troop comes to fruition and actually happens, and we see some great results from that. So this is the end of our webinar. We hope that it's been worthwhile of your time. And remember, in about a week, everything will be up on our recruitment webpage, and that if you go to utahscouts.org/recruitment, that's how you can get into that and see everything that has been on our webinar tonight. So in the spring, we're looking forward to hosting another recruitment webinar, and we're planning to share some ideas on recruiting adult leaders, parents, how to prepare packs for lions and tigers, and possibly recruitment adventurers and explorers. So we'll have another full night, and we'll let everybody know when that will take place. And before we go, thank you to all of our panelists, our presenters. We appreciate all that you've done and all your efforts and your volunteer efforts. And we have such great opportunities to work with such fine people. So we appreciate all of you. So before we go, I just wanted to leave this quote by Robert Baden-Powell. It's one of my favorites. The most worthwhile thing is to try to put happiness into the lives of others. And this is how I feel that each one of you leaders are doing now. We appreciate you. Thank you for putting happiness into the lives of those Cub Scouts, your scouts, boys and girls, and venturers, and you are making a difference in their lives. So thank you once again for joining us tonight, and now go and do some great things with those youth. And good night, everybody.